Hello and welcome to the Redvers podcast, episode 6. On today's episode, I speak with Irish comedian Mark McCONNELL. We chat about writing and performing new material, the Irish comedy scene, and of course, Conor McGregor.
This is the Redvers podcast.
G'day and welcome once again to the Redvers podcast. I am your host, Redvers, aka Justin Gill. If you're a new listener to the podcast, I strongly advise that you subscribe via your preferred method of consumption, which possibly sounds a little more like a drinking habit than a listening habit. How about for oral intoxication? Subscribe to Redvers podcast. That's a decent little tag. The Redvers podcast is available for streaming, downloading, and consuming via iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, Stitcher, smart speakers like Amazon Echo and Google Home. They're the ones where I think you have to do sort of like a little setup process to make those smart speakers play podcasts. There's a little thing you have to, like an app or something. But once that's all done, you will have the ability to go, hey, Alexa, or Alexa, play Redvers podcast, and it will play the most recent episode. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, listen, enjoy, laugh, maybe disagree, maybe seethe in disgust, but do feel free to leave a review, whatever your emotion. Leave a comment wherever you find this, be it iTunes or SoundCloud, because any comments and reviews help out quite a lot. They will ensure that the podcast continues to sort of go up in the charts. Christ knows where it is at the moment. It's probably not in the charts, I dare say, being 6 episodes in and essentially unknown to most people in the world. So yeah, but this is fun. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying every little detail involved in creating the podcast. But I do think you should subscribe because you'll get a new episode every Tuesday until my death. And I don't know when that'll be. So yeah, some of you will be waking up this morning to post-royal wedding hangovers. I'm recording this on Sunday, the 20th of May. And man, what an interesting spectacle that was, the royal wedding. I was watching some of it yesterday morning, purely out of, I was going to say interest, probably not so much interest, more fascination, because it's another world. All those A-list celebrities and royals, and Windsor looks pretty stunning. I've never been there. It certainly sold it to me. I'd like to go visit that place because it looked incredible. Plus, it was an amazing day yesterday in England. I think most of the country was experiencing endless bloody sunshine from dawn till dusk. It was a very stunning day. But yeah, it was interesting. I guess I watched it for a little bit. It was kind of funny listening to the fashion panel on the TV program that I was watching. They were discussing all of the fashion that the ladies were wearing as they were walking towards the church. Some of it was just very funny, very old school sort of posh English accents, raging on about how, she could pull off a mustard like that, stuff like that. I thought it was pretty hilarious, really. But I didn't sit around too long to watch that. Instead, my girlfriend and I, we went for a walk out to a forest in a place called Grisdale Forest. It's a pine forest, and it's a stunning place. It's in Cumbria, in the Lake District, so I highly recommend if you're ever in this part of England, up in the northwest in Cumbria, you go check it out, go for a hike. The hikes aren't long. I think in total the whole forest is like 24 square kilometres or something. It's like 8,000 acres, but the walk that we went on, I think, is around 5 miles in length. It might be less, but it doesn't take you that long. And this particular walk went to the highest spot of the entire forest, and the views are just stunning. It's amazing. It almost feels like you could be in any country in the world. Like having been to California a couple of times, it's almost like the forests up in the north of California. On to today's episode. I am chatting to one of my friends and an up-and-coming Irish comedian, Mark McCONNELL. I called him up the other day and we had a funny chat. He's currently living and located in Dublin, Ireland, where he's a native of. Actually, he's a native of Dublin. And it was a good chat. It was nice to catch up. I saw Mark last year. I was in Ireland for a wedding over in Galway on the west coast there, which was a nice little trip. Lovely to see Ireland. It was the first time I'd ever been there. And I caught up with Mark on one day there in Dublin. And he's a very funny guy. And I was so grateful to have had the opportunity to go out that night. I caught up with him to see him play a gig in a Dublin comedy club. I mean, it was such a great experience because, I think Ireland and comedy are just so synonymous. And it was a wonderful experience. He absolutely killed it. And he's a very funny guy. And yeah, it was a great chat I had with him the other day. I recorded it on Skype, so I've cleaned up the audio as much as I can so you guys can hear it as well as possible. And this is Mark McCONNELL. Hope you enjoy the chat, and I'll catch you after. Hey man, how you going?
Yeah, good.
That's good.
How does that sound?
Yeah, no, it's nice and clear.
All right, beauty.
I like your profile picture.
Yeah, I was back in the handsome days. I'm still dreaming back of them days, but bit out of reach at this stage as the hairline recedes and whatnot.
Are you still rocking them collars?
The collar, yeah, fuck yeah. Nice cufflinks on as well. Nice.
Oh, nice. It's
nice Primark fucking jacket. That's all it takes.
Oh god, yeah, Primark. My girlfriend and I went to Berlin about, I think it was 2016, and we went into a Primark there, like in the centre of Berlin, and it was just mayhem. Like, I'll never forget it. I've never been to a store that was that full of people in my life.
Yeah, it'd be like fucking Black Friday or one of those crazy days that see from American culture into Ireland and England now.
Yeah, you'd think that the wall had just come down actually, because we're in West Germany, I guess.
Yeah.
They were just being reintroduced to, or introduced for the first time to some cheap clothing.
Cheap clothing, capitalism, and Coca-Cola signs. Yeah.
Oh God, what have you been up to?
Fuck all today. What did I do? I dropped the missus out to the airport, and then I had a coffee. Went for a coffee. Called into my friend for a bit. I'm gonna go rock climbing tonight.
Oh yeah.
Like just indoor rock climbing, so it's not really.
Yeah.
Bouldering, I think it's called.
Yeah,
so,
bouldering. Yeah.
And try and stay away from the devil's juice this weekend.
Yeah. Been causing some problems, has it?
Yeah, or just those long weekends, like the bank holidays and stuff.
Oh yeah.
You just get too carried away. Yeah. And then if you're not human, I didn't gig until last night. That's the first gig I did all week. Yeah. I was just like a shell of a man kind of thing, just afraid to leave the outdoors. Yeah. Just for necessity though, only for turn up for work and just there in presence but not in spirit really.
Oh yeah, God, tell me about it. I think that's been my employment history since I was about 17, man.
Yeah. That's on your LinkedIn profile, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think there is a LinkedIn profile of me getting around somewhere. Christ knows where that is now.
Yeah, same as me. I don't know where. No login details, no nothing. I just remember taking a photo.
Yeah.
And it's like underneath my stairs or something, so it just looks creepy ass. Just, who's going to employ this person?
Yeah. You never know. One day you might get a mysterious phone call from someone in the Ukraine.
Yeah.
looking for a hitman.
Yeah, because they'll think as well that, like, because I think whatever job I had at the time,
Aye.
I doubt I've said I've left that company. So people are probably looking at it, geez, he's got 8 years employment history of this. Yeah. No, I worked there for fucking 6 weeks.
Yeah, still working as like the head of communications at BT or something.
Yeah.
Oh, bloody hell. Are you, have you got any gigs on this weekend?
I've one on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then can't remember what I'm on for next week. I don't have my diary with me, but one on Sunday, which might be a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And what day is today? Friday. No, nothing on tonight and tomorrow, but I'll see. You never know. Things kind of come in last minute and people pull out. Once you're kind of there on the skirts, just waiting for someone to slip up and usually pick up a gig.
Yeah. All I heard then was essentially pull out and skirts. Those two can sometimes go hand in hand, I guess.
I know I just lost you. Good thing this isn't a video call. You're just being dazed.
It is a good thing because I'm not wearing any clothes, so...
Yeah, that's the beauty of Skyping, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just business from the top up. Like a mullet, really. Like a
raging mullet.
Yeah, just party at the front or party at the back, whatever they rock it. What's your hairstyle these days? I haven't seen you. It's been, nearly a year since... Was that when you were over? When was that, like 10 months ago or something?
That was, I think it was around September.
Yeah.
Yeah, thereabouts, I think. Yeah, I've cut my hair, trimmed my beard, just sorting myself out. I think it's like the opposite of like Samson, in the Bible where he cuts his hair and he loses all his strength. It seems to have... I seem to have gained more.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Well, I don't know. The UK people probably aren't ready for long hair, surfy looks. So,
especially not in this neck of the bloody woods in the northwest where I am.
Yeah.
But I think it's weird, man. Like when I cut my hair and stuff and shaved my beard, I was over in Australia for Christmas, and I don't know. I do think it's sometimes correct, maybe a lot of the time, that sort of people seem to hide behind hair or like mentally, like you're in like a bit of a fog or something, and then I don't know, there is something ceremonial about cutting your hair off. For me anyway, it's bizarre. Yeah, I definitely feel, because the longer you let yourself go, the less you give a shit about yourself, really. That's what I've kind of noticed. Like, you're just like, every way it manifests in terms of how you're dressing, like not even like cleaning your car and that. You're just like, who gives a fuck? Sure, look at me. I'm a disgrace. Anyway, and then, hang on, someone's rang the doorbell. Imagine I just never came back. How long would you wait before you hung up? I was just thinking, it would have been one hell of a podcast, man. This would have gone viral if I just heard you get slaughtered at the front door or something.
Yeah. That happened before, didn't it? Some crazed ex-boyfriend turned up and butchered some woman in Singapore or something like that, or maybe she was from Singapore and was in Canada.
Yeah.
Something, just a live snuff video. Well, you would have just sat there and watched it and said nothing, made eye contact with the person and just knew you
just hung up.
Agreement.
Yeah. Hung up as quick as I could to save credit, even though this is free. Oh, bloody hell. No, but getting back to that, like hair and sort of being a general disgrace. I think you bang on. It's been good. I guess I've always been aware of that, but living it, I guess, is another thing. And I think you and I...
There's a difference between recognizing it and actually doing something about it. Like, everyone knows if their life's in a shambles, is like, well, that's just the way my life is now. I recognize it the way it is, but go on, I'm not living some deluded fact here. Yeah.
But it's interesting, man, because we're creative people. Obviously you're a comedian and I'm like music and stuff, and I think we maybe creative people probably have more of a tendency to delve off into those sort of worlds where it's just you can be in like a mental quagmire for like 6 months or whatever, and you kind of got to dig yourself out of it.
Too right. Yeah, I find any sort of schedule or anything in the pipeline helps, because you just can't let yourself go too far, drift too far into the mist. Then if you have something, even if it's like a crappy gig or anything for the following week, you're kind of thinking like it's only going to hold you for a week. Then, like if you're coming out of a bad gig or whatever, you've been let down with something or let yourself down. Once you have something else to kind of rectify that coming up, even that could go even worse then, but then you have to kind of think again, at least I have next week's thing or tomorrow night's thing to kind of rectify that. And then there's only so many bad gigs you can do before you put that snub nose 38 in your mouth.
Well, no, I agree. It's like I can't even imagine what it would be like to be say a touring musician where someone hands you a list of like 150 gigs you got lined up for the year. Like, I'd be over the moon.
Yeah.
Because at least you know what you're doing for the rest of the year.
Their calendar full. You don't have to chase anyone down. You don't do nothing. Just turn up and fucking rock it.
That's the dream. But no, I guess that's why I've really enjoyed at the moment doing the podcast, because I guess in the classic case of sort of diving into something without knowing how much work is actually involved in it, it does take quite a lot of work, like the editing and bloody all that stuff and doing the write-up. But I love it, man. It's been good to just have something that I can sort of throw myself into and distract myself.
Different kind of focus as well, I'd say. Kind of like you're still riding off the freshness and the excitement of the whole thing. So just capitalize on that as much as you can. Capitalize that as much as you can until you have a pretty decent system in place.
Yeah.
And then it'll just be part and parcel. Like, you'll know exactly what you do. Everything will be much quicker. And
it's getting those patterns. You're right. Like sort of jumping into things and sort of having a process, and everything becomes simplified then. But what about like your writing method for jokes? Do you have like a system in place, or like are you one of those people who sort of, like myself, like you have to sort of be in transit on a bus and just a thought will pop in your head sort of thing, and it's like, oh shit, I've got to get that?
Pretty much, yeah. Something will come by or something will come up in a conversation, and it kind of straight away, when you kind of feel like you've reached a peak moment, you'll be like, right, try and write this down now quick in your phone. Just take like notes down. Just something that you'll kind of remember the thought process, because there's nothing worse if you just have like jumbled words there. You go, what the fuck is going on here? What was I thinking at that stage? But it's just something that could kind of capture what I thought was funny at the time. And then, but I'd be pretty rigid in my approach in terms of like, I'd write it down. I'd try and almost get it word for word how I want to say it. And then I try it out, and then hopefully the delivery kind of goes as I say it, as I thought it would. Sometimes you get up there and you kind of muffle it up a bit, or you're kind of stumbling on repeating yourself, trying to remember how you want it. Just buying yourself time pretty much. And by doing that, you're just taking away all momentum and stuff. But pretty much, it's pretty rigid in the approach I have. Some comedians are just gifted. They could have an idea and they just get up on stage and talk it out. But these are guys that have like top of the game with like an unlimited amount of stage time. So they can get up, they could go one night, do something, and then never mind even wait until the next night. They could be in an Uber going to the next gig fucking minutes later and just hammering it out. Whereas I feel like, shit, I only have so many gigs this week. They're all like a pretty decent paying audience or something like that. You just feel like you can't let them down as much. So you kind of have to save it for the shit nights or the open mics, or when you kind of feel like the time is right, rather than letting down harder and eager comedy fans who spend money to see me stuff up some harebrained idea on stage.
Especially in this economy.
No, we've got a boom going on. I don't know what it's like over in post-Brexit Britain, but they're doing okay in Ireland once again.
It's Dickensian over here. Like, I'm wearing all black and I got soot all over my face and shit.
Take you back to Wigan Pier, just there. The scourge of capitalism.
Yeah, man. I mean, you've lived in Australia. And I'm sure you've seen England as well. And I don't know. It's a weird place. Like, I don't even know really how to describe it. It's almost like, I was thinking about it today actually. It's almost like, and I'm sure if this picks up, like people will probably hound me for this, but it's kind of like the old colonial sense or instinct of England has now sort of moved on to the ability to control the populace, and it's got similar sort of strings to it, you know. I almost, sometimes I kind of see the way that people have to live over here as being quite sinister, and I think it probably all just comes down to the class system, to be honest.
Yeah, there's no escaping it, really.
Oh, man, yeah, it's really weird. But, I mean, it's fascinating. I do feel like an outsider still, and I mean, I'm so lucky to have grown up in a place like Australia that is, you know, probably as close as to perfection as possible.
Yeah, Australia's never had it bad in our lifetime. Like, it's things have constantly been on the up. Even like a recession over there is nothing. Like, house prices might drop by 7%. Places like Detroit and that, there's not even an open business on the street or nothing. City's gone bankrupt.
Oh, bloody oath. I mean, did you ever see that film, The Big Short, about the 2008 crash?
Yeah.
Oh, that was great. That was...
Yeah, I like the way they did that whole thing, breaking the fourth wall and stuff, and it's pretty sweet, but pretty harrowing at the same time. You're building up this anger the whole way through because they do such a nice job. You expect a nice big arc and a bit of payoff, bit of emotional payoff at the end, and you're like, that's just the way the system is. It just keeps on going. Yeah.
Oh, it does, man. And something tells me that the bubbles just continued to grow after the fact as well.
Yeah, just bubble bust.
Oh,
so
just
don't get it.
No.
Oh well. At the moment, I'm here working 4 days a week and sitting here on some high-speed internet connection.
I know we do have it.
Acer computers made in Malaysia or somewhere.
Yeah, I know. It's like you sort of get slow internet speed, and I like start banging the fucking table. You know,
this is fucking bullshit.
No, but so when you write a joke like some new material, is it scary? Like, it must be terrifying to deliver that joke for the first time on stage.
Not as much now. If anything, what comes with it now is an excitement, because kind of what scares you is just getting trapped in your set, like, you know, something that you know that works, and you just get too comfortable with it, and you're like, if you're doing the same places where you kind of feel like you owe it to the crowd a bit, you're like, well, I'm going to put on a show here at least for them. Yeah. And then you kind of feel like that's where the fear comes from for me, is you're getting too trapped in something here. You're getting trapped in something that's not even improving. Yeah. Like, never mind if you're doing the same material, but you're tweaking it and getting as good as you can. That's probably more rewarding. That'll probably stand to you better. But just turning up doing the same old stuff that works fine. Yeah. But you don't really have the hunger to improve it. Yeah. Because you've had it out there for so long, or you just feel like that's just the way it is. You can't change it. That's just the way you say it. Yeah. Nothing could really tweak it too much to make it much better. But that's where, like, a sense of excitement comes with trying something new, because not as much. You wouldn't be doing it to the stage where you're just throwing out any old idea on your phone. You kind of feel like something that you felt like this could be a new decent bit. This could be something kind of comes from. So more faith really in your own ability to judge things, and that kind of comes from more faith in what your original writing was, really, kind of just knowing how to gauge things a bit better. Yeah. No, it's fascinating because, I mean, I think of comedians, and as opposed to musicians, like, at least musicians, even if you're playing alone on a stage with a guitar, you've still got something, you've still got a prop like a guitar that's almost as it could be used as a bit of a guard or a bit of a shield. Whereas in comedy, I mean, that's why I admire comedians so much, is because you don't have that. I mean, I guess there are like prop comedians, but at the same time, you've just got a mic, and it's like that could be a lot to deal with for a lot of people. I can't see many people ever having the balls to even like go up on the stage once, you know. Yeah, that's the hardest part, getting over that initial fear. And then once that fear kind of comes with it, it kind of comes in waves then, because once you get over the fear and then you're noticing improvement. I mean, at the beginning, like anything, once you take it on and you have that crazy passion about it, it just spikes up in terms of what you're noticing in your ability.
Yeah.
It seems to be a non-stop upwards trajectory. But then it just plateaus after that, because everyone improves at the start, because you're learning things fast and it's a whole different world to you compared to like what you started off with. And then it's kind of just getting through them stages where things plateau.
Yeah.
And the worst part is when you're, never mind trying new material where you're not getting much love for it. It's stuff that you think is like tried and tested and something that you've worked hard on for the last couple of months or whatever it is. And if that's getting nothing, because at least you can hide behind like the prop, you can hide behind, oh, that's new material. That's, of course, never going to like that. But it starts hitting hard when you get no love with stuff that you have tried, tested, and like it's been approved by other audience, and you're like, oh shit, I have nothing now, really. Back to the drawing board, Mark.
Oh god, yeah, that must be scary. But is that when you go to a club on a night, can you kind of gauge a crowd, as in like, oh, that material's definitely going to work, or maybe I should try this one? Is there a sense in the audience, like, can you feel?
Yeah, it depends depends what sort of, if the MC is getting much love doing, like, could be simple things like Irishisms, or playing off the fact that there's people from different nationalities in the room. You can kind of suss it out that way. If you have like a ton of top heavy Irish crowd, you're like, oh sweet, I'll do material about Ireland or something. But then at the same time, that works with kind of a foreign crowd as well, because they're here to see Irish comedy. Really, that's what they want to see. They don't want to see you up there telling jokes about fucking Uber or just universal things. But it's mainly, that's what it boils down to for me, is race. Just good old fashioned racism. Just knowing, like, all right, grand, we've got 4 Irish people in, you've got 12 Dutch people in, 8 British, and you're like, sweet. And at least I know that this will connect with 25% of the audience, hopefully. Yeah. So just going for that straight up tribalism, stereotypes, like, grand, break it down to Irishness, Britishness. As simple as that. Yeah, no,
Irishisms, I mean, that must be a big one. Like, I guess I wanted to sort of touch on Dublin and Ireland itself as essentially what many people, I think, would consider to be as the home of comedy. And I mean, I think of places outside of Dublin that are obvious sort of hubs of comedy, and I guess you got Melbourne in Australia, but also like LA and New York. But LA just seems to be like, I mean, you've got all those, like the Laugh Factory and the bloody Comedy Store and places like that, are like seminal venues, But I don't know. I think there's still something about Irish comedy and like Dublin and Ireland, that's just so fascinating, I think, to comedy fans.
Yes, I think in the Irish scene anyway, because people, like, even the top level comedians here, everyone's thinking like, they don't really know where it's going. They're like, I don't think, not necessarily. Everyone would love if an opportunity came for like some TV work or anything like that. Whereas I feel there's a lot of straight up passion and love still just for the stand up. Yeah. Whereas if you're in LA and you're kind of coasting it like in a pretty high level, all I'm sure you'd be thinking is get the TV deals. Whereas what's my agent doing? I need to build this more. Whereas in Ireland, it's all you really know. So you don't really, it's hard to aim beyond that unless you get over to UK or anything. So everyone's just looking for the next best gig. Yeah. It's like in terms of your next, what better clubs you can get onto, if you can get onto any festivals. So it's still for the love of stand-up. That's what you kind of notice here. And it's a well-managed scene here. And the crowds, they're definitely up for it in terms of if it's a high level of tourist kind of crowd there, or if it's like an Irish crowd, they're just out drinking hard on a weekend or a Thursday, whatever night it be. Yeah. They're pretty up for it. They're not really laid back. They're not subdued or anything. They're there to be entertained and kind of get in amongst the show. So it's a pretty raw energy that you experience on some of the best nights here in the scene here in Dublin, I've noticed, and around Ireland. Yeah. No, well, having said what you just did, like how it's
Dublin's more of a, like, you know, the love of comedy that comedians do it for, and like the thrill, I guess. Like, having stated that, I mean, in terms of, say, world comedy, it must be such an amazing stomping ground for growth, you know, like to become a fucking amazing comedian, because then if you did get an opportunity, say, to stay in LA for 12 months or something, I mean, you'd be so sort of hardened to just the pursuit of comedy alone, you know, that you wouldn't be concerned about any other peripheral stuff like TV work and shit that I think other comedians and certainly crowds would notice that overseas.
Yeah, I think we're lucky here in terms of you're not just dealing with an Irish crowd at the same time. Like most shows, if you're in any way in kind of Dublin or, let's say, Galway or any of the cities, pretty much all the cities in Ireland get pretty well hit with tourism. So you have to contend with that too. So you have like high levels of Canadians and Americans and even Australians in and British. Yeah. So if you really want to succeed, your whole act can't just be one-dimensional. Can't just be like, oh, us Irish, what do we like, kind of thing. It's great to have aspects of that in, but it kind of has to have that universal appeal to it as well, which kind of it's good in terms of getting better under the radar, but constantly improving. So like you're just building yourself really for whatever opportunities kind of arise in the future. You're not going to be brought over to the UK and just be like, oh shit, all I know about is the bus route that goes through fucking Galway City. What am I going to do?
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because like, I guess some American comedy that I watch is very US centric. You know, you see little gigs of sort of unknown comedians and stuff in like the Laugh Factory, and I guess that's all they're talking about is like American stuff. And yeah, you're right. Like it doesn't seem to be much in the way of sort of dipping their toe in international affairs. I mean, fair enough. People could say, well, Donald Trump is sort of affecting the world potentially, but not as much as maybe here's America. That's for sure.
Yeah. But I think because if you're in America as well, you're, as much as we hate to admit it, you're the center of the world pretty much. And especially if you're in one of the major cities. So why would they? Probably they don't even have passports. Why would they be shit about?
Well, there aren't actually there. There's not many, not many Americans travel, and there's not a huge, like in terms of the size of the population, there isn't, say, a high percentage of passports. Because, I mean, having been there a couple of times, it's like, yeah, it is the center of the universe. Like you don't need to, if you didn't want to, you wouldn't have to leave the country, you know.
Yeah, you have something different in every state if you want to. It's mountains, ski, sun, fucking debauchery. It's all there.
Debauchery in 52 states.
That's your new album name.
Yeah, varying degrees. I mean, I guess the east and west coasts, it's probably a bit more upmarket, but the second you start to get inland, it's probably the debauchery where they put bloody, white satin sheets on and shit like that.
Yeah, squealing like pigs.
Yeah, well, we've just lost the Americans.
Yeah, how universal do you want this to go? I thought we even started yet. We just eased me in.
Aye, man, no, I've been recording the whole time. Yeah, shit. Well, no, I was going to say an Irishism, I guess. Do you get sick of foreign people asking you about Conor McGregor?
It's eased off a bit because Conor he's God knows what he's been up to lately. Yeah. Without getting you done for under our strict libel laws here, but his life is debauchery pretty much there. We've touched on the subject. Yeah. Just chaos. Really, he's kind of, I suppose he's let his guard down and kind of let people know who he really is the last couple of months. Yeah. So I think since it's only been a year, if even less than a year since with the Mayweather fight, and that was like peak McGregor. Yeah. And there was no escaping it, no matter how much you didn't want to get sucked into it or how much you believed in the whole hype and you wanted to. There was no escaping it. Whereas now, he's just keeping himself in the news, either through good or bad. He only really has to do something once every 6 weeks or something. That's enough to hurl a Tesco shopping trolley at some number 34 bus.
Yeah.
I can't admire, just to have the audacity to do that. It's just to give it up to him.
Oh, I know, yeah. I mean, I really do. I love the guy. I think as a character, he's fascinating to see, you know, everything about the guy. Like the way that he walks into the octagon, right, you know, with his head high and his chin up, you know, and just sort of, it looks like his heart rate would be about 52 BPM. Couldn't give a shit. It's amazing. It's astonishing to watch, really. I mean, there aren't many examples of someone like that in our lifetime, at least.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. Just that sheer focus and knowing exactly where he wanted everything to go. Yeah. Regardless of the results of fights or whatever, he was like, who cares? Just being here is what I aim towards. So, yeah, it's incredible. Like, you don't really see it as much especially with the fighting game now as well. Like with Bellew and Hay last week, you didn't even know that was an event until the day of it. You're like, oh shit, that's today. Yeah. Who cares? Like, who would actually pay for that? Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, like, I guess, as an example, the way that he threw that bloody trolley thing into that bus, you know. I mean, I don't know, I kind of end up looking at it as though it was, and it probably wasn't purposefully done in this manner, but he is on the very top of the heap in terms of the UFC, you know, like they're a bunch of alpha males and alpha females who would be extreme personalities, like extraordinarily strong and potentially, you know, crazy people. Not crazy as in, you know, I guess they're not crazy people, but just with that level of commitment, belief in themselves, you're obviously going to be teetering on some sort of scale of craziness. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, like to maintain yourself to stay at the top. Even though he hasn't had a fight in the UFC for about 2 years or something, he had to do something ape shit. And I mean, it's just, to me, it just stamped his authority once again on top of the bloody heap, you know? It's like, that's why I thought, wow, that was, even though people may have got hurt or whatever, I don't really know too much about the details, but... I'll get bogged down in them insignificant details once we're entertained. But no, I thought, shit, that's, I mean, you just couldn't have written it any better. It really is. He's teed everything up perfectly. He hasn't lost any endorsements, nothing. He's going to... Yeah. Everyone knows there's going to be a big fight coming later in the year. Yeah. Fucking oath. But... No, well, yeah, now I think he's sort of just relaxed now, hasn't he? He just kind of seems like he's just a bit of a lad, really. And... But that's all he ever was, at heart, anyway, doesn't it? You can't deny your roots. Nah. No matter how much you try and... cover it up and hide it over with tens of millions of dollars. It's who you are as a person. Imagine us. Fighters, they've all kind of went through the same things at different stages. Yeah. Like they all have, if you're going to be that outspoken and top of your game, it's going to drift over into all aspects of your life. You're going to get yourself into trouble in different ways. Yeah. Imagine we were just given 100 million each. First thing I'd be doing would be using €1 to take out the paid for Tesco trolleys. Hopefully get a trolley lock system that they have in place. Yeah. And just fuck it into a canal or public transport. Yeah, you could become the most notorious fucking Irish comedian in history. Just trashing shit up all the time. Fuck, if that's what it takes, though. Yeah, I guess, a healthy level of violence, but imagine someone on my level going out and doing that. Oh, it'd be hilarious. It'd be just shown straight away, like, no. I'd laugh, at least. At least you know that someone would be laughing. Oh, for you, just. Yeah. No, well, I guess we should touch on the time that you were in Australia. Because, for anyone listening, that's how we met. We ended up working in the same company. An engineering firm, and it was quite a funny time, I recall. Yeah, we had some golden times in that place. Oh, bloody oath! How long were you in Oz for altogether? I was there for over 4 years. Shit, like 4 and a bit years. Yeah. But I was only in Sydney for less than a year. Less than. Yeah, so it was mainly Melbourne. Mainly Melbourne the whole time. Had a brief period in Adelaide. Which was pretty grim. and also kind of lived in central New South Wales for a while, just picking fruit and just being the stereotypical backpacker kind of thing.
Yeah. No, it's I've heard rumours like that those sorts of jobs, I mean, whilst they attract backpackers because of like the visa implications and stuff, you can get some seedy people like crims and stuff go out like fruit picking and that when they're sort of on the run and all that weird shit.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. There's some lost souls, absolute lost souls out on that farm.
Yeah.
Guys just hold away because you're staying in this like dingy backpackers hostel.
Aye.
And you'd have like 4 people to a room, whereas the Aussies would just have 1 person to a room. Either through the landlord being like, here, this person is a maniac, it's for our own safety, and for for insurance reasons we can't put anyone in the same room as, or just made things easier for them just to go in and smoke meth and drink pennies all day.
Yeah, bloody hell. But no, I mean, I always remember the classic days, you and I, when we joined the gym, remember, with Kel.
Yeah.
And I went once.
Yeah.
You maintained a bit more of an effort, but I think I went once. I don't know how many times Kel went, but oh, God.
Fuck, yeah. But that was such a great job at times. You're just like, you've got 3 hours that you don't need to report to anyone.
Yeah, it was magic, man. Like, I remember we'd just go drive up underneath the bloody car park in like the shopping centre in the shade, and you just have a nap.
Yeah, and all 3 of us would wake up at different times and be like, Jesus. I didn't think you'd walk by and saw that 3 men, grown men in high-vis jackets, just asleep on the job.
I'm sure it happens a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, especially in Australia. That's the problem with, I knew things is fairy tale land over there. It's like, why are people getting paid for this? This shouldn't be happening. If this was any other country, these people would be destitute and...
Yeah. Oh, bloody hell. And the other time, of course, was probably the most classic, when we were asked to landscape the boss's house.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
And I think I took a bit of a leadership role there and said, no, fuck this. We're going to the beach.
That's like the only times I got to see some of the most like beautiful beaches in Sydney.
Yeah.
Yeah, taking down evenings and not even afternoons in Bronte Beach. The boss's wife going, where are those 2 fucking labourers? What are they doing? It took 2 of us to go to Bunnings to buy a spare tyre for a wheelbarrow. It took us the best part of 5.5 hours to achieve. I was ambushed with that. I went for my 6-month appraisal. Yeah. And that was the first thing he said to me. He was like, what the fucking bloody hell did you do to my garden? I was like, what?
Well, shit.
I was going in with my fucking handful of notes and stuff and how I thought I could improve the company, and he blindsided me with that.
Yeah.
And I was just flabbergasted. I was like, what is he talking about? We're not fucking landscape gardeners. We're here to do a different job.
Yeah, bloody oath. That was annoying, man. Because, I remember the first day we went there and we were like, oh my God, really? We have to do this? This is like way more of a nightmare than being on a job site anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So we just went and had breakfast at the beach.
Yeah. I've never done more of a half-assed job in my life than whatever that was. 2 weeks to do 3 hours work in that place.
I think we moved in some like topsoil and stuff, didn't we? Some sand and shit, and then called it a day at about 10 a.m.
Yeah, we had a look at the... I remember walking around having a look in the garage, and I just gave up.
Yeah, that was kind of weird too, the garage setup. I mean, I don't know what had happened in there. It looked like there'd been an exorcism and sort of shit had gone flying all over the place.
That was after we were asked to clean it up.
Yeah, they held a seance there just to try and figure out what we did. Oh, Christ.
I couldn't believe I felt guilty taking a wage for that.
No, I didn't. Fuck it.
Yeah. But I was only new to the country. I did not know. I was like, surely this can this be reported? Is this going to affect my visa in any way?
Oh, bloody hell. Well,
let the good times roll.
What's that, mate?
You let them good times roll. You're not going to...
Oh, yeah.
You have to take the perks when things are going well with an economy.
Bloody oath, man. I mean, I've had to suffer England for almost 4 years. It's shit. Yeah. There were times when I was sort of looking up directories for soup kitchens and shit.
Fuck up, yeah?
Yeah. I wish I was joking. I mean, it never really got to the point where I sort of had to go to a soup kitchen, but it got to the...
It's just a nice safety net to know.
Oh, yeah, it certainly was. Yeah, God, it's... I guess, it's probably my fault, essentially, because I don't have a degree or any form of qualification.
Yeah, but people are so overeducated, especially in Ireland anyway. People are so overeducated to do a job that you could, with any sort of decent level of cadetship or just like a good old-fashioned interview and seeing potential in someone and taking them on, rather than 4 years of nothingness. I suppose it's beneficial for a student to like take 4 years after school to try and figure themselves out. But like, we don't have that kind of fairy tale US style of college where parents pay for it and all you do is like live in this nice frat house with fucking a bunch of sorority girls and kind of discover who you are. Whereas here, you're living at home with parents doing a course that you hate, and then you end up doing a job that you've got no interest in.
Yeah. No.
It's over-education for something that can be trained. Every job you do, you could be trained up.
Pretty much.
In a matter of months, you could be trained up to do it perfectly.
Yeah. I think you've just come up with a decent premise for a fucking reality TV program there. It's like from zero to surgeon in like a month. I reckon it could be done. Like at the end, on the last day, they have to perform like brain surgery on someone with Alzheimer's or something.
Yeah. Jesus. I'm sure Fox Network or the Dave channel or something probably would take over.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if that...
A long time ago, anyway. They'd take it back,
If that show does appear on TV in the next 12 months, we know that someone's bloody heard this conversation. They've stolen that idea, so...
Well, at least we know we've got one listener. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, bloody hell.
Putting out ideas there into the stratosphere.
Yeah, it's you never know, man. This could be... Someone could have a laser beam on the window right now, sort of measuring the vibrations, listening to this conversation from a van that says MI5 on it.
Yeah. Flowers by Iring. You just hear some wheels spinning off now.
Yeah.
That's because they're getting attacked by McGregor throwing shopping carts.
Oh, shit. No, well... No, I think you're right with the over-education there, man. It's I think that's how Google is. They've changed their hiring process now, and they don't really determine sort of the hiring of someone based off of the fact that they might have, a PhD in friggin', some sort of obscure mathematics. It's more about the ability to sort of think and adapt and stuff like that, which is quite interesting.
But then also they want that core set of people, the straight up Rain Man style of numbers approach to the basic level of coding and stuff. They don't want these people to think. They just want them to perform a job. But even though probably now that's all just outsourced anyway to Southeast Asia and stuff.
Yeah. I think the best thing about working at Google would be the fucking lunch.
Yeah, lunch and all would be great, but that's all just a gimmick. All that, like, you really think you're gonna work there for a US company that all they see is dollars?
Yeah.
You think you're gonna be down there lounging on the bean bags and playing Pac-Man and going for table tennis? Them things are empty. Like, everyone has jobs to do. If you're not hitting them targets, you're gone.
Yeah,
the lunch would be nice though, and the croissants in the morning.
Oh yeah. I tell you what though, if I was working at Google and still playing Pac-Man, I'd be spewing.
Yeah.
I'd want to be playing like VR or something, surely.
Yes. Nice VR.
Yeah.
Taking violence to a whole new level.
Yeah, bloody hell. But, well, I guess we've touched on comedy a fair bit. It's just been a fun conversation, really.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. You eased me into it so well. I didn't even realise we'd done the whole thing.
It's all about easing them in.
Yeah, that's great gift of an interviewer. Really
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm looking at a question here that I wrote that I haven't even asked, and I probably won't. Intriguingly, and it's spelt incorrect. Intriguilingly. I don't even know what that spells, but it's certainly not intriguingly.
Yeah.
Intriguing, something like that. But
put that in your Google now, you are a fuckwit. That'll all be registered on your curriculum vitae. It's like one time you tried to spell this word, never give this man a job.
Yeah, I'm blacklisted now.
Yeah.
No, well, yeah, so in general, I guess we'll probably have to talk again and touch on the comedy a bit more, because we're coming up to 45 minutes. But, yeah, I mean, regular phone calls would be fine with me, but...
I'm down for whatever. It's brilliant.
But, yeah, so for anyone listening, man, do you have any social media or website details you'd like to proffer?
Yeah, I have my website is markmcomedy.com, which will be a bit more active now. Now I'm going to have to prepare going back to Edinburgh this year, so try and put a bit of promo out there and see what I can do with that. I kind of a healthy fear of the internet, though, so I have the usual. My comedy page is Mark McCONNELL Comedian on Facebook, and I don't know, I kind of stay away from the Twitter hate mobs, and just don't know, if I haven't got into it at this stage, there's no point opening up a whole new world of just distraction, really, is the way I look at these things. It's hard enough to get away, ease yourself off one website, never mind.
It definitely is, man. I find it very distracting sometimes. You should get on Instagram. I think Instagram's pretty good for comedians, because I see a lot of dudes just doing like really funny, like 30-second clips. Yeah. Some of them are quite good. But well, sweet, man. And it was good talking to you. And
fear the algorithms, though. You can't beat the algorithms.
Yeah, see, God, that's one of the things people always talk about, like the algorithms and stuff. It's like, shit, I probably can't even spell algorithm off the top of my head.
Just be aggressive. Just try out a few curveballs every once in a while.
No, well, this won't be coming out this week. I was going to say if you've got any gigs coming up, but it's probably going to come out when you've already done them. So we could potentially go back in time. You never know. Yeah,
that sounds all right.
But no, I'm going to have to come over, man. I got to book a flight.
Beauty,
get my ass over, and we'll try and do some funny shit. We should try and interview Conor McGregor. Yeah,
we try. I could line up some nice interviews with you and stuff. I get try to get a few people on board.
Yeah, man, sweet.
Down. Even like a group thing or something might be really high energy kind of thing.
That'd be funny.
Might be a good laugh.
High energy. We'd have to do an aerobics class beforehand.
Yeah, we got to do a Bikram yoga beforehand and a 5 rhythms dance class.
Yeah, all that sweating yoga. I kind of don't get that. I mean, come on. There's no need to go into a boiling hot room and do yoga. I understand the premise, but Jesus.
Yeah. Fuck, just swimming in other people's fluids. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good look generally, is it?
No, fucking keep that for the weekends.
Yeah. Keep that for the weekends and, for the people we're not going to mention online. All right, man. Well, nice talking to you, and we'll catch up soon.
Fuck yeah. Can't wait to hear the final product. And I'll have to catch up on the last one I missed and give it a squiz.
Sicko. Every download helps, people. Damn it. I'm starving here.
Yeah. What's the number for those soup kitchens again?
Yeah, how are the soup kitchens there in Dublin? Are they pretty sweet, or?
Yeah, oh fuck no. With our government, they're cashing in on everything. We're a puppet state for the Tories, so there's no such thing as a free meal here in Ireland.
Shit, because I was thinking Ryanair, then you could pick me up from the airport and we'll go straight to soup kitchen.
Dublin on a shoestring budget. That's the new blog. Yeah.
Oh, sweet, man. Well, have a good gig on the weekend and have fun rock climbing, and don't fucking break your spine or anything.
Yeah, no, I'll keep her handy.
All right, mate. No worries. I'll
that was great, mate. That was lovely talking to you, okay?
All right, no worries. See you, man.
Peace out, brother.
Take it easy. Well, that's it, you freaks. That's episode 6 in the bag. I hope you enjoyed the conversation I had with the wonderful comedian Mark McCONNELL. I really enjoyed that talk. I do hope to get out to Ireland and go to Dublin and hang out with him for a couple of days and see what content we can get happening. That's the word at the moment, isn't it? Content. You got to have good content. It's like, what? Okay, I'm just going to do what I'm doing, man. Whether it's good content or not, that's down to you folks. But so maybe we can line up a couple of interviews. If anyone's listening to this and they also do know Conor McGregor, which is highly unlikely, but if you do, I'd love to interview him. Mark and I could do a joint interview with Conor McGregor. I'm sure it'd be an absolute riot. But anyway, guys, if you want to check out Mark McCONNELL online, I highly recommend you go to www.markmcomedy.com. So that's MarkMcomedy.com. He's got a contact form there, gigs, and a little bio. And so you can get in touch with him via that way. You can book him via that website and send him some love. I think he's on Twitter. I don't know if he's on Facebook, but you can follow him on Twitter with the handle @MarkMComedy. Get in touch. Tell him I said g'day and tell him you heard him on the Redvers podcast. I'm sure he'd really appreciate people touching him. Well, I'm sure he would appreciate people touching him, depending on who you are. What I was supposed to say was I'm sure he would appreciate people getting in touch with him. Jesus, can't get my fucking words out today. I've got a bit of a sore throat. Anyway, folks, that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Please do follow me on social media. Best place to do that is probably Instagram. That's the one I update the most. You can use the handle @RedversMusic. That's @RedversMusic, and that's mainly where I allow my identity to seep into the public view, I guess. You just got to do it these days, haven't you? If you want to get your shit out there. But get in touch. Send me an email as well. I'd love any questions, any comments, any topics you'd like me to talk about. If you have any suggestions for people you'd like me to talk to, I'd be very appreciative. You can get in touch by emailing me at redverspodcast@gmail.com. That's redverspodcast@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Maybe you want a little shout out. That'd be sweet. I can hook you up with that. And thanks again, folks. And you will catch me next week. Peace.